5 years ago, we left our one-room apartment to help children and we rented a flat. In this 4 years, almost 5 years ago, it turns out that we have moved 13 times. With each new child, we have had to relocate. If you have 10 children, 3 dogs, 2 cats, 4 parrots, then you need to find a house for rent and then find it in a specific place because children are studying in a particular school. A family is something worth living for. It is worth forgiving for, enduring for, and fighting for. For me, family is probably the most important thing in life. I never thought that I would have 10 children. I always dreamed of having a happy family, to hear the sounds of laughter, to sense a delicious smell, for children to always want to return home, and even if they did something bad or good, family would not shut the doors on them. That's the way it is. When my husband and I met, we wanted to adopt a child. At that time, we already had our 2 biological children and came up with an idea to help other children not to enter orphanages. We never made any application for adoption, didn't go to an orphanage to specifically find a child. No, all of our 10 came to us by themselves. Some of them wrote. I remember how the daughter that we found in Astana wrote in one of the social networks. I know that everyone prefers cute puppies, and I'm a dog rather than a puppy. I'm 14, no one will take me. I really want my mother and father. This is how it started. It did not happen spontaneously. It was rather a conscious approach, but we did not plan to have 10 kids. When you see that someone is dying, you either offer your hand to help or ignore. We do not think what we will do tomorrow. We are helping now as much as we can. 10 children are 10 smiles, 10 tears, constant broken knees, problems in school, huge cauldrons of food. It's just endless. 10 children are 85 pairs of winter shoes when you go through the wardrobe, or, I don't know, 250 pairs of socks one by one. It's fun, really. You know, it's life. Our family was created when 10 people gathered in 2 months. This occurred with difficult circumstances for us and for them. So when this happened, it was at that moment in this 2 months that my husband and I went through a mind transformation. We told the kids, you are our family now. You can stay here forever. We are your dad and mom who will always be by your side. But if you want to go to another family with fewer children or no children at all, we are always happy to help. For me, there is nothing more valuable than the interests of the child. Well, we didn't plan 10 children at all. Life forced us to do so. In fact, we understand that we can neither change their lives completely nor give them good education. Our goal is simply to get them out of the orphanage system, since we understand that in the system it's worse than here. Now we are adapting them, trying to give them an opportunity to understand different values. Not the values that they have previously acquired, but the values that we can share here, the correct values of society. Foster children have been broken, but they are so amazing. They're extraordinary. They taught me how to live. They need to be educated, how to take care of themselves. They need to be taught the simplest things, which for us are natural. For example, cutting bread at the age of 14 because staff at the orphanage prepare ready meals for them, bringing sliced bread in the dining room, pouring soup, and children just do not see how it's done. The first month they were eating kilograms of potatoes, sacks of fried potatoes, and fried eggs. When I asked why, they said, "Mother, who will fry potatoes for 150 people? We only saw it in the movies." This is something inaccessible for them, but for us, it's the easiest, the fastest, the most natural thing. Everything for them is different. In general, for every foster family, our first advice, when a child arrives, even a small one, older 5 years old, the child must have certain duties in the house. Without this, a child cannot accept the family. When a person adopts an adult foster child, he must be ready to respect a child's personality as a whole. He must help the kid to transform and learn something new. But the parent should also be ready that it will be an absolutely different person, maybe not whom he got used to. You know, I had an interesting moment. One of my children would always come and while hugging me, put his hands like this. That was his way to approach me, but I couldn't understand why. Well, we used to tapping. A year later, I learned that a child lived for a very long time in a kennel with a dog. The dog was the most faithful, closest being who fed, protected, and sheltered a child. A child living with a dog, I understood why he communicated with us in a certain way. Some small things, but they completely change your life and our worldview. Gradually, as these details unfold, you begin to not only respect, but start admiring them because those kids are part of your family. There is a myth that if you adopt a newly born baby, he will be like your own biological child. He would grow up, won't remember anything, you would raise him the way you want. It's not true because they have their past. These kids have life that began with rejection. My daughter was 40 days old when she was brought to me. 40 days old, not even 2 months. Up to 3 years of age, she called every woman she met a mother. My daughter has not been in an orphanage, not even once, and up until now the biggest difficulty with her is that she runs and hugs everyone she meets. We're seeing a psychologist because my daughter has a frustration of attachment. She does not understand this. Everything inside her is distorted. I like it when they say, oh, I don't need a too small baby, maybe under 3 years old, but healthy. I want a healthy, beautiful child. In this case, I dispel this myth and say, you know, you can take a healthy, beautiful child of 1.5 years old. For example, you can invest a lot of finance, love in your heart. He would be so obedient, so quiet, and so calm, not like Zhanna Kim said. When a child turns 3, you will find out that he is autistic. All of your myths fall apart. Then a question comes to your mind. Why did you adopt him? To help him, to make him your family, so there are no problems, no matter what diagnosis could be revealed at the end? If you're going to take a baby because it's convenient for you, don't take it. It won't be uncomfortable. I began to advise parents who wanted to adopt children and began to tell about my experience, share knowledge, simply gather with foster parents. Initially, these were just gatherings, and after a month, regular parent meetings began. We saw that in the first month, 20 children found a family just because of the correct registration of documents. We explained to parents what to do when they do not receive documents, when potential parents are not let into an orphan home. So we realized that this is a big deal. Then, we, several foster mothers, gathered and opened up a public fund, Community of Foster Parents of Kazakhstan. In my view, family is better than the system, even let's say a large family with no individual approach to a child. It's still 100 times better than the system because I see what happens to children. I see looking at my own child, whom I have taken away when he was 2 years old and still has a big psychological trauma, which we're working on. Therefore, any family, well, as long as they are not alcoholics, any normal family is 1,000 times better than the system. So this is important. A child who has lived in a family accepts social norms calmly. We guide parents through all procedures and situations. At a time when parents just want to adopt a child or have already done it, we work just like 911 rescue service for all foster parents. Where to collect documents, what to do, how to submit documents. What if he expresses some kind of aggression? School of foster parents club, summer camps, free medical help, checkups, New Year's, meetings, development assistance, tutors, sports. Everything that is connected to rehabilitation of these children, we try to cover everything. Unfortunately, according to my calculations, almost every third or fourth child is returned back to the system. and for me, it's probably the biggest pain. For this last 2 years, my consultation style has changed, my approach to this has changed. If earlier I said, guys, why are the children here? Let's take them to families. Now I'm asking more. Why do you need this? Why would you want to do that? For what? What is your motivation? Because these are broken children who need to be repaired. They have a different perception of the world. They don't have the value of the family. Of course, I agree that there are times when a return is not just necessary, but simply inevitable, because it happens that both parents and a child just begin to harm each other and do even worse. I agree. Therefore, I'm for professional families, not for orphanages as a system, namely for professional families, for private shelters that can be easily checked. There will always be children who cannot fit into families, those who are accustomed to live in freedom, those children who are adults, who somehow regrouped, have a very difficult past. Such children can only be healed by professionals. Our goal is to show them the truth, the values that are right, and, if possible, remove all that was negative. Fill the suitcase with something good so that they could forget the bad things, forgive their parents, forgive those who hurt them, so that they can live this life freely, without any burden, without any offense. We want the children to develop, create good atmosphere for their studies so that nothing disturbs them, probably so. Therefore, I strongly believe that the school for foster parents should be enshrined at a legislative level. Support and assistance should be provided. Very often there is a myth that it gives profit to parents. This is always very interesting. If you take a child, they will give you a lot of money, and you can actually earn money on children. Zhanna, you have 10 children, of course you took them for money. 22,000 at this time this year were paid for one child. 22,000. And every 6 months we give reports of what we had bought. Yes, I'm often asked if all the children call us mom and dad. They call us that way, but the kids do not all mean it. For them, mother and a father just the names of men and women. What if this mother severely beat the child? He won't value this word. You must revive this word. You must conquer a child's heart. That's why they all call me mother, but not all of them accept it. I hear very often, oh, if only we have the children adaptation programs. Many would like to take a child into the family. If they were adapted beforehand, we are for it. We are happy to become this professional family. But unfortunately, we only have these methods. How to say, our private one-time methods. Complicated. It is difficult with the legislation because every time I adapt a child and find a new family, they make me return a child to an orphanage, at least for an hour, as our Boston guardianship inspector said. It's okay, bring him back to the orphanage for 2 or 3 hours. I said, why? Once at a cinema, my child met a former tutor from an orphanage, and after that he couldn't stop urinating for a week, just because of one encounter. How will I bring him there? What for? Create a service, check us, because in the families it's easier than in orphanage. Orphanage is a closed organization. We're constantly checked by social educators from school and guardianship. We write reports, we're always open. Come, look, check our fridges, talk to our children, but let's just save them. I want to say to foster parents, when you adopt a child, take responsibility because he's yours. It's the most important thing. Love him no matter what. Love unconditionally. Don't push him. He will never be the way you want, and he should not be like that. You adopted him to save his life. Then do it.